Confidence, a word that's been thrown around so often that most people have forgotten what it truly means. They mistake noise for power, arrogance for self-belief, and volume for value. But real confidence doesn't need to prove anything. It doesn't need to shout. It simply is. True confidence is the quiet understanding that no matter what happens, you will handle it. It's not built in front of people. It's built in silence, when no one is watching, when you face your fears, your failures, and your reflection. From the moment you were born, society began training you to doubt yourself. They gave you grades to measure your worth, opinions to shape your decisions, and fears to keep you predictable. You were told to play safe, to stay small, to seek approval before action. And over time, you began to believe that your power came from the outside, from validation, applause, and permission. But the truth is, confidence is not given. It's taken back. It's reclaimed. It's the moment you stop asking the world who you are and start telling it. Dangerous confidence is born the moment you no longer depend on others to confirm your value. It's the point when your inner voice grows louder than the world's noise. When calm replaces chaos. When certainty replaces confusion. And when you no longer chase power, because you are power. By the end of this audiobook, you will not just understand confidence, you will embody it. You will move differently, speak differently, and think like someone who cannot be shaken. Because dangerous confidence is not arrogance. It's peace. It's precision. It's knowing who you are and never needing to explain it again. This is the birth of confidence. Let's begin. Doubt is not weakness. It's a program. Something you were taught to run long before you learned how powerful you truly are. It hides behind hesitation, behind the quiet voice that says, "What if I'm not enough?" It disguises itself as caution, as logic, even as humility. But make no mistake, doubt is fear wearing a polite mask. You weren't born with doubt. You were born with instinct. You were born curious, bold, and untamed. Watch a child and you'll see it. They touch, explore, fall, rise, and try again without apology. But somewhere along the line, that wild courage was trained out of you. The world compared you, graded you, laughed at you, and conditioned you to second-guess what you once knew by heart, that you are capable. Doubt began when you started believing that other people could define your worth better than you. Every criticism, every rejection, every moment of embarrassment carved a small crack into your self-belief. And instead of repairing it with self-understanding, you filled it with hesitation. You told yourself that playing small was safe, that waiting for the right moment was smart. But deep down, you knew it wasn't safety. It was self-sabotage disguised as reason. Doubt survives because you feed it. Every time you replay your failures, every time you compare your journey to someone else's highlight reel, you strengthen the same neural loop that says, "I can't." It's not the world that keeps you stuck. It's the mental movie you refuse to stop watching. You've rehearsed your fears so many times that they've become familiar, even comfortable. But here's the truth. Doubt doesn't disappear through motivation. It dissolves through understanding. When you see doubt for what it is, a conditioned reflex, not a reflection of reality, it loses its power. The voice in your head that questions you is not your enemy. It's just an echo of past experiences repeated so often that you mistake it for truth. Your job is not to fight that voice. It's to observe it without judgment. The moment you observe your thoughts, you separate from them. You become the watcher instead of the victim. You realize that the mind can only control you when you believe every thought it produces. So the next time your brain whispers, "Can I?" replace it with "I will." Not as blind affirmation, but as decision. You don't need to feel ready. You need to act, and through action, belief begins to form. Confidence grows not from the absence of doubt, but from your willingness to move despite it. Think of your mind like a muscle. Every time you override hesitation, you strengthen the neural pathways of certainty. Every time you act before your fear talks you out of it, you rewrite the code. That's how you kill doubt, not by arguing with it, but by starving it of energy. You don't eliminate insecurity through force. You dissolve it through awareness. The moment you stop identifying with your fear, you stop being ruled by it. You begin to understand that the real battle was never between you and the world. It was between your truth and your programming. And once you see that, something shifts. You begin to realize that everything you ever wanted was waiting on the other side of hesitation. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every version of your best self is standing there, waiting for you to stop doubting and start deciding. So when the voice of uncertainty returns, and it will, don't silence it. Smile at it. Recognize it for what it is. An outdated version of you trying to survive in a new world you're creating. You're no longer the same person who once needed permission. You are building a new identity, one decision, one action, one moment of courage at a time. This is the death of doubt, not through battle, but through awareness. Because when awareness comes, illusion ends. And when illusion ends, you become unstoppable. Every human being fights a war that no one else can see. A war that takes place behind the calm expressions, behind the smiles, behind the practiced words we use to sound in control. That war is between who we pretend to be and who we truly are. It's between the voice that wants to grow and the fear that wants to protect us from growth. It's the battle between our ego and our authenticity. The ego is the image, the mask we create to survive in the world. It wants to be admired, respected, untouchable. It hates vulnerability. It fears being wrong. It constantly asks, "How do I look? How do I sound? What do they think of me?" But authenticity doesn't care about any of that. Authenticity is raw. It's honest. It's the part of you that values truth more than reputation. The ego wants to look powerful. Authenticity wants to be powerful. Confidence isn't built by pretending you have no fear. It's built when you confront it, when you walk toward the discomfort instead of around it. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is the invitation, the signal that you are standing at the edge of expansion. When you feel fear, it means you've reached the border between the known and the unknown. And only in the unknown does growth exist. Most people run when fear appears. They distract themselves, they rationalize, they retreat. But those who rise, those who become truly confident, are the ones who stay still. They let the fear come close. They breathe into it. They study it like a scientist. Because when you face fear long enough, it loses its shape. You realize it's not a wall, it's a wave. It looks solid from afar, but when you walk through it, it dissolves into mist. Pain plays a crucial role in this war. Pain is not punishment, it's information. It shows you where the resistance lies. Every painful moment you've ever lived was trying to teach you something about yourself. But instead of learning, you might have labeled those moments as unfair, unlucky, or unbearable. Yet, those exact moments are the training ground of mental strength. Confidence doesn't come from comfort, it's carved out of chaos. The strongest people you'll ever meet are not the ones who avoided pain. They're the ones who stayed in the fire long enough to learn its language. They learned that pain is not the end, it's the beginning of self-mastery. Every scar, every heartbreak, every setback carries a hidden lesson that your spirit is unbreakable. You bend, but you don't break. You fall, but you rise higher every time. This is the inner war, the clash between what you want to feel and what you must face, between the part of you that wants peace and the part that demands power. To win this war, you must stop trying to silence your fears and start listening to them. Ask them what they're trying to protect. You'll find that most fears are ancient. They come from the child in you who once felt unsafe, unseen, or unworthy. Confidence comes when the adult you finally meets that child and says, "You're safe now. I've got this. Now visualize this. You're standing in the middle of a storm. The wind howls. The ground shakes. Everything around you seems unstable. This storm is your mind, the chaos of fear, guilt, and hesitation. Most people run for shelter, hoping the storm will pass. But not you. You stay. You plant your feet firmly on the ground. You close your eyes and breathe. Slow, deep, deliberate breaths. Inhale, feel the chaos move through you. Exhale, release what isn't yours. With every breath, you begin to notice something. The storm isn't destroying you, it's strengthening you. Each gust of wind forces you to root yourself deeper. Each flash of lightning illuminates a new part of who you are. You stop trying to fight the storm and start becoming the calm inside it. That's the secret of true confidence, not the absence of fear, but the mastery of reaction. The ability to remain centered while everything around you spins out of control. When you can stand in your own storm and breathe through it, nothing outside of you can shake you. Because the chaos no longer lives around you, it lives beneath you. You are above it now. The inner war never truly ends, but it evolves. The more you confront your fears, the smaller they become. The more you face pain, the more it transforms into wisdom. And the more you practice authenticity, the less you need your ego's approval. What used to feel like war becomes balance. You stop fighting against yourself and start working with yourself. So understand this, confidence is not born in quiet rooms or perfect moments. It's forged in internal battlefields. Every time you face fear and stay still, every time you speak truth when lying would be easier, every time you rise from pain without bitterness, you are winning the war. Slowly, silently, permanently. The inner war is not about defeating your darkness. It's about integrating it, learning to dance with it until it no longer controls the rhythm. When you reach that point, fear becomes your ally, pain becomes your teacher, and hesitation becomes the reminder that growth is near. This is where real power begins, not outside you, but within. When you stop running from your storm and start breathing inside it, you stop being human trying to survive and start becoming a force that thrives. This is the inner war, and you are winning it one breath at a time. The mind is not a cage. It's clay, shaped and reshaped by what you think, what you repeat, and what you focus on. Most people don't understand this. They think confidence is a feeling that some people are born with. But confidence isn't a feeling. It's a neural pattern, a pathway built through repetition until your brain has no choice but to believe in you. Every thought you repeat, every action you take, and every image you hold becomes a line of code written into your nervous system. Over time, that code turns into identity. And once the identity forms, it becomes automatic. You no longer try to be confident, you are confident. You no longer try to be calm, you are calm. The mind adapts to what it's exposed to most. If you feed it fear, it becomes cautious. If you feed it courage, it becomes fearless. This is the power of neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself through experience, emotion, and intention. It's not magic, it's science. Neurons that fire together wire together. Every time you visualize success, your brain lights up the same regions as if it were happening in real life. Every time you act despite doubt, you reinforce a new circuit that tells your nervous system, I can handle this. Confidence, therefore, is not the absence of fear, it's the dominance of new patterns over old ones. But here's the problem. Most people repeat their insecurities more than their strengths. They replay past failures like daily rituals, reinforcing the very identity they want to escape. They tell themselves, I've always been shy, I'm not good enough, I'm not confident around people, without realizing those sentences are commands. The brain obeys language. It doesn't argue, it executes. What you speak, you program. What you repeat, you become. If you truly want to reprogram your mind, you must take full control of what you feed it. The process begins with awareness. Observe the patterns that dominate your thoughts, the doubts, the fears, the repeated mental scripts. Then ask yourself one question. Who told me to think this way? You'll find that most of your inner dialogue doesn't belong to you. It's a collection of inherited beliefs from parents, teachers, society, past failures, all stored as unquestioned truth. To build confidence, you must create a new identity loop. It begins with a thought, I can. That thought leads to an action. You speak, you move, you take the step. The action produces evidence. You did it. And evidence forms belief. I can do this again. Thought, action, evidence, belief, the loop continues. The more you run this loop consciously, the faster the brain rewires. Over time, doubt fades not because it disappears, but because belief becomes louder. Understand this clearly. Confidence is not the goal. It's the byproduct of repetition. You don't wait to feel confident before acting. You act repeatedly until confidence becomes your natural state. That's how new neural pathways form. The brain doesn't care whether you are right or wrong. It only cares about what's familiar. So, if insecurity has been your pattern for years, you must make boldness the new normal. And here's how you do it. Every morning, before the world distracts you, spend 5 minutes reprogramming your mind. Stand up. Yes, physically. Because motion wires emotion. Breathe deeply, shoulders back, chin up, spine straight. Feel the posture of power, not as an act, but as a reminder. Now, begin your mental training. Visualize yourself handling challenges with calm precision. See yourself speaking confidently, moving with certainty, making decisions without hesitation. Let the images be vivid, See the colors, feel the sensations, hear the tone of your own voice when it's steady and clear. As you visualize, speak affirmations out loud, not as fragile wishes, but as commands to your nervous system. Say, I am in control of my energy. I am calm under pressure. I am becoming more confident with every breath. Speak with conviction. The goal is not to convince the world, it's to convince your brain. Your subconscious listens to what you repeat the most. Then, move. Do something physical, push-ups, jumping jacks, a stretch, a cold splash of water. Link physical movement to mental programming. When you move your body while affirming new beliefs, your brain associates confidence with energy, not just words. You're no longer sitting in your head, you're embodying power. This is how the new pattern gets anchored into the nervous system. Most people underestimate how simple it is to change. They think transformation requires massive effort. But in truth, it requires consistency, small rewiring done daily. Just as drops of water carve stone over time, repeated intentional thoughts carve new pathways in the brain. What you think consistently, you eventually become permanently. So, make it your ritual. Each morning, choose your focus before the world chooses it for you. Because whatever you focus on, your brain builds around. If you focus on fear, you reinforce avoidance. If you focus on courage, you reinforce growth. You are literally sculpting your mind every day through repetition, environment, and focus. Reprogramming is not an overnight process. It's an identity upgrade. You are not trying to become someone else. You are returning to the most powerful version of yourself, buried beneath years of conditioning. Every morning you train, you chip away at the false layers until what's left is clarity, presence, and strength. Confidence is not built in the mind, it's built through the mind. It's the reflection of countless moments where you chose courage over comfort, repetition over reaction, and focus over fear. And the beautiful part is, your brain never stops adapting. You can always rewrite the story. This is how you reprogram your mind, with intention, with repetition, with truth. Because when you control your thoughts, you control your identity. And when you control your identity, nothing can control you. There comes a moment in every person's journey when power stops being about words, speed, or force and becomes about stillness. Emotional control is that stillness. It's not about being emotionless. It's about being unmoved in the midst of storms. You see, the world doesn't follow the loudest voice in the room. It follows the calmest. Because calmness is certainty. And certainty is power. Think about it. When chaos strikes, everyone looks to the person who isn't panicking. The one whose eyes stay steady, whose breathing remains slow. That person becomes the leader, not because they shouted for attention, but because they held their ground when others lost theirs. Emotional control is not suppression. It's command. Confidence begins to rot when emotions take the driver's seat. Anger, fear, anxiety, guilt, they're like waves. You can't stop them from rising, but you can learn to surf them. A confident person doesn't suppress their emotions, they transmute them. Anger becomes drive, fear becomes alertness, sadness becomes depth. The difference between the weak and strong is not who feels more, it's who channels better. Now let's talk about dominance, not over others, but over yourself. Emotional discipline equals dominance. Because when you command your inner world, your outer world begins to follow. Most people are slaves to impulse. They speak before thinking, react before understanding, and regret before learning. But when you master your emotions, you move from reaction to response, from chaos to clarity. There are three simple but powerful tools to develop this mastery. The first, breathing control. Breath is the remote control of your nervous system. Shallow, rapid breathing tells your brain, I'm in danger. Deep, steady breathing whispers, I am in control. Before every major decision, every argument, every stressful moment, pause and breathe. Feel the breath descend into your belly, slow and deliberate. You'll notice how quickly emotions begin to lose their grip. The second, emotional detachment. This doesn't mean indifference. It means perspective. When someone insults you, it's not about you. It's about them revealing their own weakness. When you fail, it's not an ending. It's a mirror showing you where to grow. Detachment allows you to move through life like water, adaptable, fluid, unstoppable. And the third, cold exposure, symbolic or literal. It's not just about dipping yourself in freezing water. It's about learning to find warmth within discomfort. When you willingly enter the cold, whether that's a difficult conversation, a challenging project, or a cold shower, you're teaching your nervous system to stay steady under stress. You're conditioning your mind to whisper, I'm safe, even here. Now let's talk about anger and fear, two of the most misunderstood emotions. Society teaches you to suppress them, to hide them behind politeness or fake positivity. But true mastery lies not in suppression, it lies in redirection. Anger is raw, volcanic energy. When you learn to aim it, it becomes focus, determination, fire. Fear is not your enemy either. It's information, a signal that you're stepping beyond comfort into growth. Don't run from it. Study it. Breathe into it. Move with it. Imagine standing in the middle of chaos. Maybe it's life falling apart, people doubting you, emotions pulling you in every direction. Now picture yourself taking a slow breath. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Let the noise fade. Let the fear dissolve. In that stillness, you'll realize something profound. The world outside mirrors the world within. If you control your inner state, you control your fate. Emotional control is not built overnight. It's a daily practice, the art of staying centered while the world tests your edges. Each time you breathe through frustration, stay calm in conflict, or face discomfort without retreating, you build a new layer of inner steel. Remember this, people follow emotional stability because it's rare. In a world addicted to reactions, the one who stays composed becomes magnetic. The calm mind commands energy. The grounded soul influences reality. And the one who can master emotion can master anything. By the end of this chapter, I want you to take this truth with you. Your emotions are not weaknesses to hide from. They are power sources waiting to be mastered. So the next time life tests you, don't fight your emotions. Don't drown in them. Stand still. Breathe. Command them. Because confidence without emotional control is chaos. But emotional control, that's unshakable power. True strength is rarely loud. In fact, the loudest people are often the most insecure. They shout to be seen, to be heard, to convince others of what they already doubt themselves. Real power, real confidence, does not need an audience. It does not ask for attention. It simply exists, quiet, deliberate, undeniable. This is the art of silent strength. Most people mistake activity for progress. They think if they move faster, speak louder, or post more about themselves, they will appear powerful. But noise is a mask. It hides hesitation, fear, and uncertainty. Silent strength, on the other hand, moves like a shadow, unseen but felt. It is presence over performance. It is energy projected without words. It is influence without explanation. The principle is simple: move in silence, impact in power. Do not broadcast your intentions. Do not explain your moves before they are completed. The world will only recognize what is done, not what is promised. When you master this, you stop wasting energy on persuasion. Instead, your results speak on your behalf. Your calm focus draws people in. Your quiet confidence commands respect. Body language is one of the most potent tools of silent strength. Posture communicates power before a single word is spoken. Stand tall, shoulders back, head high. Move with precision, not haste. Make deliberate gestures, a hand placed, a step taken, a pause before speaking. Your presence becomes magnetic because the world unconsciously reads control. Your energy tells people you are centered, grounded, and unshakable. Energy projection is more than posture. It is the subtle rhythm of your breathing, the steady cadence of your voice, the stillness of your gaze. When you enter a room, notice how others respond. Those who overcompensate with noise are drawn to quiet, controlled energy. They sense stability, they sense calm, they sense power that doesn't demand approval. This is why silence is not emptiness, it is force. Mysterious charisma is born in restraint. When you do not overshare, when you keep your actions measured and your thoughts private, you cultivate intrigue. People are drawn to what they cannot predict. The unknown fascinates them. You are no longer defined by what you say, you are defined by what you do. Every movement, every decision, every glance carries weight. And because your energy is consistent, deliberate, and calm, it creates authority without a single boast. Control is key. Control over your words, your emotions, your reactions. Control over your presence. Do not rush to fill silence. Do not seek validation from attention. Instead, let your inner certainty radiate outward. Quiet power is not submissive. It is steady. It is relentless. It is magnetic. Practice stillness daily. Stand in a room without speaking. Observe your body. Notice how your posture, your breathing, and your focus shape your presence. Practice entering spaces without announcing yourself. Notice how people unconsciously respond. This is the laboratory of silent strength. Every moment of controlled presence strengthens the neural pathways of confidence. Every pause, every measured breath, every intentional movement embeds authority into your being. Remember, loudness can attract attention, but silence commands it. Quiet strength creates respect without resentment. It builds influence without coercion. It cultivates curiosity without explanation. And above all, it allows you to operate from a place of power that cannot be shaken by noise, criticism, or chaos. True confidence is invisible to the untrained eye. It is felt before it is seen, sensed before it is measured. The world may not notice your words, but it will respond to your energy. This is the power of silent strength, calm, deliberate, magnetic, and unstoppable. Move in silence. Speak through action. Influence through presence. And let the world follow the force of your quiet, unshakable power. Becoming the force begins with a shift so profound that it changes everything. The shift from seeking validation to granting yourself permission. For most of your life, you may have looked outward for approval, for recognition, for affirmation that you were enough. But dangerous confidence does not come from others. It comes from within. Self-authorization is the final stage of mastery. It is saying to yourself, I am enough. I am capable. I am power incarnate, and meaning it in every fiber of your being. This is not arrogance. This is clarity. This is the ultimate alignment of mind, body, and spirit. When you stop chasing applause and begin acting from inner authority, your energy changes. You no longer bend to the whims of opinion. You no longer wait for permission to step into your greatness. Every action becomes deliberate. Every decision measured. Every presence magnetic. Self-authorization is the foundation of unshakable influence. And without it, all other forms of confidence are fragile. Purpose is the highest form of confidence. Without it, power is empty. Dangerous confidence is not loudness or aggression. It is peace mixed with power. It is calm certainty, born from knowing your mission and understanding your role in the world. When purpose drives you, nothing external can sway you. Challenges are no longer obstacles. They are opportunities to execute, to grow, and to demonstrate your mastery. The more aligned you are with purpose, the less you are distracted by trivialities, by gossip, by criticism. You act not to impress, but to fulfill. Integrating confidence into your character is about embodying it fully, not only in moments of visibility, but also in moments of solitude. It is in how you handle failure, how you respond to pressure, how you speak to yourself when no one is listening. It is consistency in your thoughts, your movements, your presence, and your energy. Dangerous confidence does not fluctuate with circumstance, it is constant. It radiates without effort, commands respect without demand, and inspires without instruction. To become the force, you must embrace stillness as your power, discipline as your ally, and awareness as your guide. Quiet is not weakness. Solitude is not loneliness. Reflection is not hesitation. These are the tools of mastery. By cultivating a centered mind, controlled emotions, and deliberate actions, you create a presence so strong that the world is drawn to it naturally. Influence becomes inevitable when you operate from this space. Every challenge you have faced, every fear you have conquered, every moment you have chosen action over hesitation has been training for this. Confidence is now a habit, a pattern, a neural truth. It is inseparable from your identity. You are no longer testing it or seeking to prove it. You are it. And because you embody it, you act without apology, think without doubt, and move without restraint. The culmination of dangerous confidence is the silent storm, a force of nature contained in stillness. It is energy controlled so precisely that it becomes irresistible. It is impact without noise, authority without demand, power without coercion. You do not need to announce your presence. It will be felt. You do not need to explain your intentions. They will be known. The world doesn't need another loud voice. It needs a silent storm. Be that storm. Carry this truth with you. The force you have become is the product of deliberate thought, repeated action, disciplined emotion, and unwavering purpose. Dangerous confidence is not about dominance over others. It is about mastery over yourself. It is the quiet certainty that no matter what the world throws at you, you will stand firm, act decisively, and rise unshaken. And now, as this audiobook concludes, know this: the power to shape your reality lies entirely within you. The patterns you have built, the skills you have practiced, the storms you have faced, they are all evidence of your capability. Step forward into life not as a participant, but as a force. Not seeking permission, but granting it to yourself. Not asking for recognition, but embodying your own truth. Become the storm that cannot be ignored. Become the force that moves the world silently, decisively, and with unwavering certainty.